Hello everybody and welcome back. Thanks for watching last video and all the ones before that, and I hope you will enjoy this one. I have done a lot of videos on a variety of topics. Last one was a Q&A. Some of them have been about letters, some of them have been about my binder, and today I've decided to talk about a specific park, and that park is going to be a very famous one, a nice big one, Yellowstone. You guys have all probably heard that name, but don't know too much about it. I'm just going to give you some brief facts and hope that you will learn something new about Yellowstone in this video. If you learn something that you haven't already known, please comment down below what you learned after this video. And I hope you will enjoy it. So I've written down some basic facts and I have invited some guests. Here is Ranger Claire. She went to Yellowstone and she's been to a lot of national parks. And on the back of her, they've signed. Lots of rangers have signed her. And this one, I believe, is from Yellowstone. This is my Yellowstone letter. And Yellowstone sent me a letter in the perspective of Ranger Claire. And they sent some photos of Claire, if you can see those. And some that's kind of obvious they're photoshopped, but it's still very cool. I mean, not everybody gets their ranger to stand next to a herd of bison. And Ranger Claire decided to join us for this video. You guys can see my cat is right there. I think she might want to join us for this video too. But Ranger Claire is joining us, and I also have another surprise guest. I haven't included him in one of my videos in so long, but here is Mr. Buddy Bison. Say hi, Buddy. And we are going to go over some more facts now. Yellowstone did not send me a letter in an envelope. They sent it in kind of this book thing. And it's got lots of facts, and there's this one page full of facts, and I might be reading you a couple of those. So let's start out with some of the history of Yellowstone. Yellowstone was founded in 1872, and most people think, oh, Theodore Roosevelt must have founded it, or something like that. That's not true. It's actually Ulysses S. Grant. And Ulysses S. Grant established Yellowstone National Park on March 1st, 1872. That's one of the facts in this fact sheet. And it was a big deal because it was the world's first national park. Not the United States, the whole entire world. The world had never had a national park. And this is the first kind of recognition of we need to set aside land. And yeah, Yellowstone was also, because it was the first, it's probably been through a lot, and not probably, it has. And at first, it was founded, the National Park Service was founded in 1916, and Yellowstone was founded in 1872. So we've got kind of this gap where they don't really know what they're doing. It was controlled by the army, and they were letting people come in there and kill whatever they wanted, and they were even letting like a sawmill in to use some of the wood. So they were like just chugging it out. And it wasn't until some people started noticing and tourists started, you know, being more accessible through trains and lots of stuff like that, that Yellowstone was really acknowledged and people are, we need to stop. And before the National Park Service was founded, there were tons of national parks. Not tons, but there were a couple. There was like Everglades and Yosemite. And so even after the National Park Service was founded, Yellowstone still didn't quite get the role of things. They, one, killed off all the wolves, and that messed up the ecosystem. And it wasn't until pretty recently, in like the 1970s or 80s, somewhere in the 1980s to 70s, I don't know, where they brought the wolves back. And that made a huge difference because the wolves were eating the elk. And because the wolves are all gone, the elk were being eaten. So they would eat all the grass. The grass wasn't holding the dirt down, so the rivers widened, and that infected the beavers and the fish and their food, and it just made the ecosystem to this perfectly balanced thing to like, wow. And that was a big deal. And it took them a while, like over 100 years, to get the rule and the gist of things, but they finally got it. And now Yellowstone is a great place where we can enjoy seeing healthy and alive wolves and lots of other cool animals and plants and geysers and lots of cool stuff like that. Another fact I'd like to mention is Yellowstone is actually not the most popular national park, which kind of surprises you because it's probably one of the ones that you hear the most about. But fun fact, not related, is that the most visited national park unit is Golden Gate National Recreational Area, and park is Great Smoky Mountains. We'll quiz you later. And it's not the most popular, but it is still hugely popular. It's like up in the top 10 because everybody hears of Yellowstone, they want to go visit it, and I can totally understand that because I want to go visit it. Everybody wants to. I want to too. And another fact I'd like to bring up, if I can find a picture of this, it would be nice. And I believe it's right here. So you know these rainbow tidal pools? I'll wait for my cat to get out of the way. Where they're like rainbow, and you see how it starts out brown in the edges and then it goes into this blue and it's rainbow, and it's one of their most popular attractions. And we're wondering why is there colors? Well, it's actually temperature. It's a hot spring, so different areas of it is different temperatures, so different bacteria can grow. And so more bacteria that's a brown color grows on the outside, and then eventually it gets so hot that only the blue coloring bacteria can grow there. And I've asked lots of people who have been to Yellowstone about that pool, and you know what the problem is? They said we didn't see any color. You know why? Because people are littering and they're throwing trash in there, and the parks have to take that out because if animals eat that, they'll die. So the parks get their machines in, and the machines is killing all the bacteria to take out the litter that people threw in, and so you can't see a rainbow. It's just like a pool. And so don't litter in Yellowstone National Park. Don't litter anywhere. That's just horrible what it does, especially in Yellowstone. And then winter. Winter in Yellowstone is because it's in like Wyoming and it's north, it's very harsh. It's like a lot of snow and it's very cold. Even the geysers still erupt in there. So that's how warm the geysers are, that they can erupt in winter. And I just wanted to talk about that because we're going into the winter season here in Massachusetts and we've got snow outside. And if you look at Yellowstone webcams, they've got snow outside. So it's just cold and it's wintry, and Yellowstone gets a lot of snow in winter. And yeah, wow. So I'm going to read some of these cool facts now in this book that you might not have known about Yellowstone. So it's 25 cool facts. Okay, about 96% of the park is in Wyoming, 3% is in Montana, and 1% is in Idaho. So Yellowstone is kind of like, most of it is in Wyoming. And then there's like this little sliver in Montana, and this like practically nothing in Idaho. Yellowstone has one jail. I didn't know that. Yellowstone has a prison? In 1903, President Theodore Roosevelt dedicated the Roosevelt Arch at the north entrance face of Yellowstone. And the Roosevelt Arch is, well, an arch that's the entrance of Yellowstone. And if you can see that, it's this one right here. And yeah, it's the Roosevelt Arch, and he dedicated it, and it was finished, obviously. And it's the Roosevelt Arch, and it has, let's see, it says on it, for the benefit and the enjoyment of the people. Let's move on to the next one. Yellowstone is larger than Rhode Island and Delaware combined at 2.2 million acres of land. That's a lot. Wow. Yellowstone has more than 10,000 active hydrothermal features and about 500 active geysers. So hydrothermal features are like mud pots and geysers and tidal basins, I think they're called. Okay, next one. The Lake Hotel is the oldest operating hotel in Yellowstone. You can look up the Lake Hotel and maybe stay there in the oldest hotel in Yellowstone. The Colonnade Falls is one of Yellowstone's 290 waterfalls. That's a lot of water and falls. Eagle Peak is Yellowstone's highest mountain at 11,358 feet. Wow. Oh, wow. The lowest temperature recorded in Yellowstone is negative 66 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's negative 54 degrees Celsius. That's like cold. It's really cold. Steamboat Geyser is the world's tallest geyser, erupting up to 300 feet. And they've got a picture here. If you can't see that, that is a really tall geyser. 300 feet. Yellowstone has the largest population of cutthroat trout in North America. If you're a fisher, you can go to Yellowstone and just look at the trout. I'm not sure if you could fish in there. Some national parks allow you to fish in there, like I know Isle Royale does. I'm not sure if Yellowstone does. You can look at it, or maybe fish in it. I have no clue. In 1995, the wolves were restored to Yellowstone. So that kind of answered what I was talking about before, about how the wolves, and it was nowhere close to what I guessed. Well, it was sort of like 10, 15 years. 1995. On August 25th, 1916, Woodrow Wilson signed the Organic Law, the Organic Act, which established the National Park Service. And Woodrow Wilson signed the Organic Act, which was a branch off of the Department of the Interior, which is over the national parks. The Yellowstone River is the longest undammed river in the continental United States. Wow. It's the longest river that doesn't have a single dam on it. That means a lot of rivers have to have dams on it. Does the Mississippi River have a dam? Probably does. Yeah, most likely does, for being so long. The 1988 fires affected 793,880 acres, or 36% of the total park coverage. Wow. So that means 36% of the park was burned, destroyed. Forests cover about 80% of Yellowstone, and most of the trees are lodgepole pines. So if you see a lodgepole pine somewhere, I have no clue what they are, there's no picture or anything, then that's the major population of trees in Yellowstone. I was about to say popularity, but that doesn't really make much sense. Yellowstone experiences up to 3,000 earthquakes a year. 3,000 earthquakes a year. That's a lot. Yellowstone is the world's first national park, and that's just the fact. It just says Yellowstone's the world's first national park. Yeah, let's move on to the next one. Yellowstone is one of the largest calderas in the world. A caldera is like, isn't it like either a rise or a dip? I think it's a dip, or like it just like dips down. Yellowstone has 1,385 species of plants and 185 species of lichens. I think that's like a type of moss. About 23 bison remained in Yellowstone in the early 1900s. They were hunted between 1872 and 1900. There were 23 bison remaining in Yellowstone National Park. That is really sad. Yellowstone Lake is the largest high-elevation lake in the United States. The first car was allowed into Yellowstone in 1915. I wonder who drove that car. Liberty Cap is a 37-foot cone created by a hot spring that was active in one location a long time ago. Wow. Liberty Cap, so it's a giant cone-shaped rock. And that was just caused there because the hot spring was just in one place for such a long time. And our last fact of the day, folks, Yellowstone is home to 67 species of mammals, 285 species of birds, 16 species of fish, and 5 species of amphibians, and 6 species of reptiles. Wow, that's a lot of species of animals. I don't even want to tally it up. And guys, I hope you have learned a little with these facts. If you find one of these facts particularly interesting, please comment which one it is down below. And if you have a suggestion for another park which I should either write to or make a video about, comment that down below too. Be sure to smack that like button on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And I hope you enjoy and have a great Christmas week. And